Hey guys, welcome back to The Flip, where we interview a different reseller every week. This week we interviewed Linda's Rocky Mountain Finds. She now has 55 subscribers, so everybody subscribe to her channel. See if we can get her up to 75 this week. She's got a lot of cool stuff on there. She's always finding unique things. So hope you like this interview. Hey everybody, welcome to The Flip. Today we've got Linda with Linda's Rocky Mountain Finds. How are you doing today, Linda?
I'm good, John. Thanks. Thanks for having me.
Of course, thanks for coming on. So for everybody that doesn't know about your channel and what you do, just kind of tell us a little bit about your channel.
Well, I'm very new to the channel. I actually did some YouTube videos several years ago when I first started picking. It's funny because when I started thinking about coming back to doing YouTube videos again, I went back and watched my old videos, and it was pretty hilarious, the type of stuff I was buying. The very first video I did, I don't think I sold anything from it except for a book, which I had sold the week prior,
Yeah.
coincidentally, which was really weird. But it was interesting going back to watch. So in a way, I'm glad that I did the videos back then. I wasn't on camera. I just pointed at the stuff I was showing.
Yeah.
I was too shy at the time. And so it was interesting to go back and watch those old videos. But more recently, I've been trying to stretch myself out a little bit, get out of my comfort zone. And being in front of a camera and talking to people is way out of my comfort zone. So it's something I've been working on the last few months.
Yeah.
And I thought this was a good way to do it. You know, it's fun. It's fun showing people what I got. My friends, that way they, a few of my friends, my brother, they can see it and see all the stuff that I'm buying. And, it's just kind of fun for that. And definitely still trying to get comfortable with it. But I'm having fun with it. And I like giving back a little bit. My channel's not very big, but, I learned so much from all the videos I watch, and that is how I've gotten my knowledge, is from YouTube videos, as well as research upon research of my own. But it all started watching YouTube videos back 6 years ago when I first started doing this. So I didn't do it for a long, long time because of the comfort level thing, but it's kind of my thing that I decided I wanted to start working on, and here we are.
Very cool. So your channel's Linda's Rocky Mountain Finds. I'm assuming you're in Colorado?
I am. I'm in the Denver area.
Oh, wow. So you've got like a really big city to kind of pick from then.
I am very lucky, especially even within a few miles of my house, because I'm not right in Denver. I'm in a city just in the North Metro area. So I avoid going into Denver as much as I can, because I'm originally from California, and I left California. One of the many reasons I left was it was just too crowded. And Denver kind of brings me back to that, the traffic, not the amount of people. So, but I'm real lucky just in my city and just within like 5 miles of myself, I have so many picking options, lots of thrift stores. Garage sales are good during the garage sale season. It's not year round like people down in the South have, but the Goodwill auction site, I pick up a lot of stuff from there, and I'm just 15 minutes away from the pickup location. So I don't have to pay to have them ship it to me. I'm able to go pick it up. So I do that, I wait till I have a few items, go pick it up. So that's nice. There's auction houses in the area, and lots of estate sales. So I have a never-ending supply of sourcing options around me. So I'm real lucky in that respect.
Yeah, that's great. How did you get started buying and reselling?
Well, partly a big reason is my brother and his wife also do this. They're not on YouTube, but they watch YouTube, but they don't have a YouTube channel. But they've been doing this for longer than I have. But even prior to that, my brother and I dabbled a bit back in the Beanie Baby craze. We were buying large lots of Beanie Babies and reselling them on this new online auction site called eBay. And did that for a while till that started to fade out, did a little bit of the Furbies, and then I kind of completely phased out of it at that point. My brother continued and built. He got into the toy collectible, Disney, Barbie, that type stuff, and his business has changed over the years as well, and our businesses are very much alike now. A lot of clothing. Garage sales, I think he says his area isn't the greatest for garage sales and stuff, but a mixture of hard items and clothing and stuff. So our businesses have actually kind of come together to where they're very, very similar now. So I started up again selling on eBay about 6 years ago now, when I moved to Colorado, and took a while to find a job, and finally got a job, but it wasn't particularly high paying, and it was going to be tough meeting the bills. So it was either get a second job or do this thing that my brother was doing that I'd been considering for a while. And so I just kind of jumped into it, started off super small. First thing I sold was a Beavis and Butthead Bendables new and packaged for $9.99 that I'd bought for $1 at a garage sale. And it's just grown from there, from just trying to be the extra money to make ends meet to actually becoming a big part of my income. And then I eventually realized I wanted to do this full time. So then the plan was to get built up to the point to where I could quit my job, which I finally did. October 31st was my last day.
That's great.
At my
Congratulations.
job. And yeah, thanks. It's been awesome. It's stressful in the respect I don't have that regular income to fall back on.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of that safety net thing, but that was part of the thing. Some things happened at the job that just pushed me to finally do it. I mean, I wanted to. I was trying to get to a point financially that I didn't quite get to, but some things happened at work I just couldn't stay at the job. It was going to kill me.
Yeah.
So I thought this is the time,
Yeah.
and I'm glad it did. The hard thing was the safety net, giving up that safety net.
Sure,
and I don't have that now, but as my friends have told me, I'm happier than I've ever been because I'm finally doing the thing that I love to do. And it's this, and I love how it's always changing, and the variety. And if there's a day that comes that I don't want to work, I don't have to.
Yeah.
Although that rarely happens.
Yeah.
That's the thing too. It's a 7-day-a-week job. You always have to do something, whether it's the shipping or the responding to the customers or whatever. But I wouldn't give it up for anything now. I love it.
Yeah. Was it hard for you, since you started in October, to find, sourcing? Because, I mean, that's pretty much no garage sales going on, so you're pretty much just hitting the thrift stores, I'm guessing.
Well, yeah, I was actually the timing for that was good because we were coming into fourth quarter, and I also do Amazon. And during fourth quarter, I focus on Amazon. I do a lot of the retail arbitrage. So that was the perfect timing to jump into starting to do that, hitting the big box stores and looking for the stuff for Christmas. And so that's what I focused on when I first left the job. Was the Amazon stuff, and I did that real hard. And then once fourth quarter was over, then I've been getting back to pushing the eBay, because I want to have them both pretty equal. I seem to have a hard time equally working on both, so I tend to really focus on eBay, and Amazon gets ignored, and then I go back to Amazon, and eBay kind of gets ignored. So I'm trying to find that balance. I knew the first year of doing this full time, there'd be a lot of trying to figure out my how I was going to do it and all. But I'm starting to settle into it a bit. But I've really been pushing eBay to get, just because Amazon, the way people can just be shut down at the drop of a hat for almost nothing scares me. So, and eBay, I mean, eBay can as well, but they don't seem to be as bad about it as Amazon is. So I really wanted to get the eBay built up, get a lot of stuff in the store, and not to mention for when the next Q4 comes around, I've got a lot of listings in eBay. So I've really been pushing the eBay, and clothing has been a focus lately because of it's so readily available in the thrift stores. And since I didn't have the garage sales during the off season, that I was hitting the thrift stores and really getting into the clothing. And but now that garage sales are now finally starting to pop up, this next weekend we've got the first community sale in my area, although there's some snow expected. That's part of the problem with Colorado. We can have snow all the way into May.
Wow.
But, we'll see how it goes. But yeah, the big sales, the sales are starting to pick up and everything. So I'll start getting more hard items than clothing, although this past weekend I picked up a ton of clothing. It's kind of hard to get away from. It's a little addicting. But yeah, once the garage sells, it'll be a lot more hard, interesting type items. And I'm looking forward to doing videos, my haul videos with the garage sales, because it is a little bit more interesting than the clothing, if you're not really into the clothing. So I'm anxious to find more of that type garage sale items and see where it goes from there.
Yeah. Have you done well with the retail arbitrage?
I've made money on it. It's a bit more difficult because obviously there's more money up front. So financially, you need to be able to afford to do it. And if stuff doesn't sell right away, you're kind of sitting on that money spent before you get your money back. But during the fourth quarter, it's so easy. I mean, it's not as easy as it used to be. Let me put it that way. It used to be, from what I understand, my brother was big into it, and before retail arbitrage got so big, it they could make me money, just walk into a Walmart, buy a bunch of toys, and they'd sell sometimes before you even get out the store.
Wow.
But it's not quite that way anymore. There's so many people doing it. So there's a problem with price dropping, and you have to find the little secret things and not tell people about it now. So it's a lot different than the whole garage sale, because with the eBay and the garage sales and stuff, we love to show the stuff we find, because it's not something you can go out and buy 100 or 1,000 of. So the market's not going to plummet like it can on retail arbitrage. Retail arbitrage, the market can plummet, and I mean, you can buy it, by the time you get home, the price can already have dropped. So that's frustrating in that respect. So we'll see when this next fourth quarter comes up, how much into retail arbitrage I do versus non-retail arbitrage. It's just you kind of have to go with what's working. So
do you focus on retail arbitrage around Christmas time then? You were saying kind of the fourth quarter. Okay.
Yeah, I do a little bit through the year. I mean, if I find something, if I go into a TJ Maxx, I'll hit the TJ Maxx's and Marshalls occasionally, look for through their clearance rack and find stuff, some of which I can sell on Amazon. I can sell new clothing on Amazon. But if I can't, for whatever reason, sell it on Amazon because of restrictions, then I can put it up on eBay. So I do a little bit through the year, but because it's so much easier to go to a thrift store, buy something for $4 and flip it for $18 to $25, and go in and spend $10, $15 on something that's new. And new items, I mean, it's nice to try to sell the new items, but they don't move as well as you would think. When people go onto eBay, I think they're looking for used clothing. So the new stuff doesn't necessarily sell for as well as you would think, and for as much of a higher price as you would think. So. But yeah, I do. I mix it up. I try to keep it different so I don't get bored with one type sourcing and one type of item selling. So
yeah. What's the one item that you've made the most profit on?
There are a couple of things that I made quite a bit of money on that I found out about when I first started picking. And the one thing was vacuum tubes, the old vintage vacuum tubes. I had seen, it was a YouTube video of actually somebody that's in the Denver area as well. I don't think he's on YouTube anymore, but it was somebody back 5 years ago. And he had mentioned the old vintage vacuum tubes that they had in the TV sets and the radios. And so I'd seen this video, so it was in my head. And then I went to an antique auction, and there was this huge box of vacuum tubes, and I ended up getting it for $25. And I mean, it was hundreds and hundreds of vacuum tubes. Wow. So then it was a matter of coming home and researching, because I had no clue what I had here. And the thing with vacuum tubes, they can range from being worth 5 cents to being worth $200 for a single tube. Just depends on which tube it is.
Yeah.
And turns out I hit the jackpot, because there were a bunch of tubes in this that the music people, for their guitar amps and stuff, that they like the old style amps that use these vacuum tubes. And I sold some tubes that for $100 to $200 individually or in pairs. Sometimes they come in pairs.
Holy cow.
And there was a pair I sold for $275. So yeah, I did really well. I spent $25 on that lot, and I probably ended up making between $2,000 to $3,000.
That's incredible.
Actually, I think I still even have some down in my basement that I never got around to. Some of the lower end ones that one of these days will actually get listed.
Yeah.
Then the other thing was, and I actually do have a video that I did several years ago on my channel about the old 35 millimeter slides, photographic slides. I do really well with those. I always watch for those. Subject matter is everything with them. And it started when I picked up a bunch of slides at a garage sale. Why people would sell their family slides, I have no idea, but they were cool because they also had a bunch of these glass slides that were in an aluminum frame. And those were the ones that I was kind of interested in. Turns out those weren't the score. It was the regular Kodachrome 35 millimeter slides that, we all know, well, at least those of us that are old enough remember. And it turns out I think I paid $10 for everything. And that's another thing that I probably ended up making over $1,000 on when all was said and done, because I ended up having a bunch of slides from Disneyland. That
Wow.
they were from back in the 50s, 60s. That particular lot was 50s and 60s, and it was Disneyland. It was the World's Fair up in Seattle. There's a people out there that want slides of the Seattle Needle,
Huh.
and I always get asked when I put up slides, if I mention Seattle, I always get messages asking how many are there of the needle.
Huh.
And Vegas is another good one. So anyway, that lot of slides had a bunch of those type, and that's where my knowledge on the slides came from, is I started selling those. And since then, I found I really scored on another slide lot that ended up being somebody that had been on one of the Antarctica expeditions back in the 50s, and he had taken tons of pictures, including of the military planes and jets, and that's a big thing with slides is travel. So planes, the old airlines, trains, cars, classic cars. And this lot that I bought at an estate sale for, how much did I buy it for? I think it was around $100. And that lot I probably made about $4,000 to $5,000 on.
Oh
And
my
I
God.
have, and there were slides in there from Hong Kong that they were just street scenes of Hong Kong back in the 60s. And each slide, this guy bought each slide from me for between $75 to $80. One
Holy
slide
cow.
of a Hong Kong street scene back in the 60s.
That's incredible. I would never guess that slides, of all things, are worth that much
Yeah.
money.
And then even the slides that don't have any sort of subject matter, if they're just landscapes or whatever, you sell them in a large lot and crafters buy them. And I've seen people that make lampshades out of slides, and
Huh.
it does a real cool effect on the
Yeah,
walls.
yeah.
So crafters use them for that, for other things. So even when you've just got a bunch of nothing slides, you put them in a big lot, and they can still sell 20, 30, 40, 50, up to $100, depending on how many slides are in the lot and everything. So those are some of my biggest scores. The vacuum tubes really got me financially going in the business, and then the slides was my next one, and kind of go from there.
That's awesome. Yeah, two things I would never think to look for are vacuum tubes and slides, and now I'm going to be looking for them all over the place.
It's one of those things that when your gut tells you to buy something, and if the price is right, you just do it. And sometimes you strike out and it's not anything, but you come home and you research it and you learn. That's the knowledge thing
Yeah.
with this business. And so all the time I'm buying something that I have no idea what it is, but I buy it if it's cheap enough, not much risk, and bring it home and research it so that I have that knowledge going forward when I go out, and if I ever see it again. There's been time after time I've come across things that I didn't know about, but I brought it home, researched it, and now I look for them.
That's great. Well, Linda, I appreciate the time. I do have one more question for you. What advice would you give to someone who wants to start buying and reselling?
Research. Get on YouTube, do your own research, jump on eBay, look at stuff that's selling. If you see something in a store, if you can't do it right then, make a note to go home and research it. But the knowledge is the big thing. You have to have an idea what to look for, but also don't be afraid to take a chance on, if the price is right at a garage sale. My cats are going crazy. Don't be afraid to take a chance. It may be something you just end up having to toss, but you're going to gain knowledge from it, and it may be something great. So educate yourself. That's the number one thing.
That's great advice. Everybody, please check out Linda's channel. It's Linda's Rocky Mountain Finds. I think she's at about 55 subscribers now. Let's see if we can get that up to like 75 this week.
That'd be awesome. Thank you.
Thanks so much for joining me, Linda.
All right. Thanks, Sean.
Have a good day.
You too.